A very good evening, folks. I hope everyone is doing well. A very happy Tuesday. Just the calm before the storm as Celtic will play Falkirk tomorrow at Celtic Park, and we have a new man in charge on an interim basis. Martin O'Neill, the return of Martin O'Neill after 20 years away from Celtic Football Club. It's crazy that we're in this position, folks. Look at before we start going in, talking with Brendan and talking with the board. I just wish Martin the very best in regards to this role, how long it's going to be, if it's for 4 weeks, 4 months, or till the end of the season. We wish Martin the very best. So his backroom staff is Steve McManus, Sean Maloney, Mark Forningham, and Gavin Strachan and Stevie Woods. Last night was a strange night for every Celtic fan. Just before 10 o'clock last night, the club released a statement saying that Brendan Rodgers has resigned as his post as Celtic manager after 281 games managing the club over 2 terms. He's decided, him, the boards, they probably came to a mutual agreement that he's the furthest he could do with Celtic. And look at, I've obviously seen the statement from Dermot Desmond. I'm gonna put it up and go through it bit by bit tonight on the podcast. But it's been a shit state of affairs since the end of last season, let's be honest. Since the failure of the Scottish Cup, the failure to get into the Champions League, dropping points in the derby, dropping points at home to Hibs. It's just where does it go? Where did it go with Rodgers? He kept saying that he wanted to get players in, but at the same time, according to Dermot Desmond's statement, he was offered a contract in the summer, and he said he'll think about it. So my opinion on the whole thing is, I think Rodgers dropped his tilts, dropped his tilts after the transfer window. Didn't look interested, wanted to get out there, waffling to the media, saying he's happy here, saying he loves managing here. And look, I'm very grateful for what Brendan did bring to us in his first term. His second term, very average. Very average. Besides winning the league a couple of times, winning the Scottish Cup and the League Cup against Rangers, and then the Champions League last season. Very average. Besides that, them games, he hasn't beaten Rangers in 5 games. It just shows that he didn't have a potion there to do that, an antidote to do that. So he was well checked out. And I came out and done a video on Sunday night, and I said it out straight. I said, look, he needs to fucking resign. The chance of him resigning is quite slim. And I was taken back by yesterday. We can breathe, but at the same time, a lot of fans are furious at how the boards have come out with this state. Well, our majority shareholders come out with a statement. To be honest, Dermot Desmond, people give me stick about not going to Celtic games. Holy fuck, he's never at Celtic games. He's never at any Celtic games because he owns about 36% of the shares in Celtic. Thinks that he has a dictate. He is not the owner of Celtic. He is not the face of Celtic. Remember that, folks. The fans are the face of Celtic. People that buy the season tickets, the people that buy the merch, the people that go to the away games, the people that get up at mad hours in the morning to watch Celtic if they live in Australia, live in New Zealand, live in Canada, America, wherever they are in the world, they're the face of Celtic. Football is nothing without the fans. And yet the team have a job to do is to go out there and represent us and get results and bring success in, bring trophies in, put them in the trophy cabinet. And it just feels like Brendan Rodgers, I think his ego got to him. I feel like he was barking and barking and he didn't get his way and he threw his toys out of the pram and he's moved on. It's happened with Liverpool, it's happened with Leicester, it's happened with us the first time around. If this didn't happen in previous clubs, I would be completely pro Brendan, even though his football has been shit. People are asking me about Ange in the comments. I'm going to talk about Ange. This podcast will go on for about an hour, so we've loads to talk about. Loads to talk about. I'm not going to sit here and think You know, why are we wanting Ange back? Yet again, people want an Ange, go backwards. They need a fresh start, a new face in the dugout, 100%. Look, I've said I want Ange back. But when the more I think about it, I'm saying to myself, I'm really on the fence with this. Why should we get Ange back, which he's failed at Forest? He technically failed at Tottenham, even though he did win the Europa League. The way he finished in the league just shows that's a failure in itself. Yes, he's brought a European trophy to Spurs. I think people need to stop looking for the past and what football we played under Brendan, under Martin, under Ange, under Lenny, under Ronnie, all that. You need to move forwards. You need a new chapter in the club's history where you get a new man in the door, new ideas, new style of football, you know, a freshness, a freshness. People are feeling Ange because they don't like the unknown. This is the problem with some Celtic fans. They like the thoughts of, oh, Ange was brilliant with us. Ange was magnificent with us. Ange brought really good times, but he's all out attacking. But when it comes to defensive football, counter attack, he gets ripped apart. I think, be honest with you, if I got sacked from Nottingham Forest and I got 7 million payout and I got a payout from Tottenham, would I be fucking in any rush to get back into football? Not a chance. Not a chance. You know, we need to move forward as a club in the vision. I know I feel so on the fence with this bit about, oh, Ange could bring this in, he could bring that in, but it's not guaranteed. It's not guaranteed. But any manager you bring in, I don't think Ange would get the type of backing. It's not. You have to think of a 3 or 4 year perspective. We need to learn from taking Brendan back. We need to learn from taking Neil back. We need to learn from that. Don't keep doing the same fucking mistakes. Even though Neil got us over the line, got us that treble. Brendan got us 4 trophies out of 6. I don't count the Champions League because you're never gonna fucking win that anyway. That type of mentality, you know. So personally, I think it's more the younger folk that want Ange because they're used to seeing success. But you use a logic side of it. You need a fresh approach. You need a manager that has never managed Celtic. Someone coming in from different leagues, has a bit of experience. The good thing that Ange had was he tapped into the Japanese market. He got a reaction out of his players. He cleared out the dead wood in his first season, majority of the dead wood, and moved them on. But he's in the past. And now at the moment we have Martin O'Neill back. I feel the whole thing with Martin O'Neill, I think it's all a bluff. I think Martin O'Neill knew about a week ago that he was getting a phone call. I know he said he decided you only had 10 minutes to make a decision. Dermot only called him yesterday. I'm not buying it. I'm sorry. I'm not buying it. Out straight. I think once Roger's done that comment about the Honda Civic and the Lamborghini thing, I they them lads, that board was planning to get rid of Brendan Rodgers. Another foot out of place. They were ready to sack him. So look, he's back in the door. He hasn't managed in 6 years. I'm not. I'm looking on the bigger perspective here, folks. Need to stop thinking of what Martin O'Neill done with Celtic 24 years ago or 23 years ago. That's in the past. Football has completely changed since then. Players are more drama queens. Agents are whip up more transfers than anything else. The style of football has changed. You don't see a lot of teams anymore with two strikers up front. Would I love to see him go with 3-5-2 tomorrow? Oh, it'd be brilliant. But 3-5-2, who are you going to stick up? Is it going to be? Is it going to be Shin and Johnny Kenny? Is it going to be Maeda? Like, look at Sean Maloney took the training today. He said that the squad was a bit down. He relied on players like Kasper Schmeichel, Tierney, McGregor, Forest, senior players to lift the morale. To lift the morale. How's the sound, by the way, folks? I'm using my earpods off my phone. I'm going to go to the comments as well. Look, the YouTube channel, what can I say? People are just people are just not interested in watching me the way they used to. That's okay. They're not liking my opinion on calling the board out. I think the board have fucked this up completely. Not backing Brendan anyway. And if you don't back someone, you do pay prices. And then look at Brendan. I would look at in this perspective. Brendan Rodgers is 35% of this blame, and then the rest goes to the boards. If he couldn't get a reaction out of players that he knew well, like Tierney's and McGregor's and players that he managed last season, it just shows the character of him. Rodgers was itching for a move away. And this is why I think he handed his resignation in. They're saying a resignation. I think it could have been more. It's okay, but is it? Good. Good. Rocking the Jamaican jersey tonight because obviously there's a big hurricane over in Jamaica. So yeah. I can blame the board for many things, but Brendan Rodgers lost the dressing room, threw the players under the bus, and the board didn't do that. He did throw players under the bus. He just looked like he wasn't interested. The thing is, I think Brendan Rodgers think he was bigger than Celtic at times. I think thought he was bigger than Scottish football. I think he was coming back in. He was thought it was going to be an easy paycheck. And I'll tell you one thing: he learned quick enough when Kilmarnock beat them, and Kilmarnock beat Celtic in the League Cup. He learned quick enough when his football was shite at times. You know, it was absolutely shite at times. His football, but we digged in because we're fans. We know that there's a squad there that could turn up, but he didn't. You look at Tynecastle on Sunday, folks. It was absolutely one of the worst games I've ever seen Celtic play. It was just you just knew when that second goal in. I was like, you know what, we ain't coming back. Even though there's only you could equalise it by another goal, but you just knew, you could feel it. Even looking at them players, you just. I said this earlier on in one of my videos. They look like they're restricted. They don't look like they can play the way they want to play. I feel like they're under too much guidance of defensive this, defensive that. Do it this way. Look, we signed Balak Wishe. The guy's been absolutely mint so far. He might turn it around now with a new manager. There was an Instagram post he put up. I don't know if that was a dig at Brendan. I know people are saying Dembele warned us a couple of years, 7 years ago. Look, there's going to be players in teams that don't get on with the manager. Simple as. Dembele, I know this sounds a bit premature to some fans, even though Dembele was there for two years, right? I'm grateful for the goals Dembele scored, but I'm more grateful for what Brendan Rodgers done for Celtic, because Brendan Rodgers, even though he did come back, he brought the silverware. He brought the football. You know, I know Dembele's the cult hero, but Rodgers will go down in some sort of success in our history because he's the man that started these trebles. He's the man that built from that treble to a double treble. Yes, he won a League Cup in the third season, then he done the jump to Leicester. But look, he came back because they thought he was the man for the job. Like I thought he was the man for the job. He came back, he won a league title. We were disappointed. I thought we were disappointed in that Champions League group the first season. Yes, we were unlucky against Atletico and Lazio, and we beat Feyenoord, but like even away from home, we got absolutely mauled by Atletico. Even though Maeda got sent off, then we went down to 9 men, and Rotterdam as well. San Siro in the Stadio is Stadio Olimpico. We were brutal as well, but yeah, it's good to see people are tuning in slowly but surely. Tell us where you're tuning in from. Please share it as well. Please subscribe to the channel. I hope you like me light as well. Timu. It's about for £5. I'm feeling it tonight. I feel a weird mood. I feel like it's been a lot to take in over the last 21 to 22 hours. A lot to take in when you're watching podcasts, you're watching Talk Sport, you're seeing Martin O'Neill's press conference, you're saying to yourself, well, this could get worse or this could get better. And we're all hoping it could get better. We're all hoping that we go out tomorrow and we smash Falkirk 5-0. Doesn't always work like that. It's up to the players. It's up to the players. Now, the manager's gone. It's up to that crop of players to lift ourselves and say, right, we're 8 points clear, or 8 points behind. Not 8 points clear. I wish we were 8 points clear. Hearts are 8 points clear. It's up to us to play to our strengths, to believe in ourselves, to pull each other together and believe that we are fucking champions. Believe that we can actually do it. Believe that we can actually go out there and get a reaction. This week is a massive week. It's a massive week about getting Martin in the door, gelling this team, getting starting tomorrow, getting out there, out in the trenches at Paradise, and fucking showing the fans what money's worth is. Not this bullshit crap of passing the back. Is he gonna start Dane Murray? Will he play Austin Trusty? Will he start the likes of Jamal Pussy? I don't really know. We will talk about the team. But look, I appreciate the comments. Please tell your pals. I'll get this podcast up and flowing for the next 45 minutes. Rogers is gone. Martin's back for now. The first Old Firm, great day. Players will turn up tomorrow. Let's get Old Firm. Let's get Martin's first tender out of our heads. Folks, 25 fucking years ago. 25 years ago. Not 25 months ago. 25 years ago. It was brilliant for Celtic fans then, hammering them 6-2, NTL days, Umbro days, yellow kit, we won the treble, blah, 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 done this. We beat a really good Rangers team then, annihilate them. But look, I'm sorry. Stop living in the fucking past. This is the problem is we all keep living in the past. We need to look to the future. We need to look at what's happening right now. You know, I had someone on the podcast, I had someone on my comments saying, oh, they've been following me for years and they unsubscribed because I wasn't talking about the board too much. Right, mate. You've unsubscribed. Whoop de fucking do. I could go onto Facebook. I could mail about 1,000 people and get new subscribers. If you want to unsubscribe to me and don't like my content, I'm not going to lose sleep over it. I'm not saying it in an arrogant way, but I'm passionate what I feel. I'm passionate that I believe we're actually going backwards at the moment than going forwards. And there is a lot of fans that have not woken up to this. There's a lot of a lot of green tints. You need to realise, folks, the football has been dire because of Brendan. The football has been dire because the board didn't invest. The players are not motivated. And it's up to them. They're getting paid a good fucking wage playing for a phenomenal club. They should be doing it. They should be doing it. And I'm not expecting Celtic to win every single fucking game because let's be honest, sometimes you're technically not matched to it or you're not up for it. But Dane Murray, I'm sick of people picking up from. I called him dirt the other day on my channel, on my Instagram. People attack me. You're some fan. You're this and you're that. Mate, shut the fuck up. If I want to criticize a player for having a bad performance where he scores an own goal, the second goal, he shits himself and doesn't literally try blocking the shot going in and then gives away a penalty. If that was Epic Ambrose, oh my God, I'm sure they would have been criticising him then. If that was Liam Scales, holy fuck, he'd be getting called everything under the sun. So stop picking up for someone that's 22 years of age that has played, what, about 20 odd senior games in his career. He signed a professional contract, signed a new deal the night we played Falkirk in the League Cup. He scored that night. I was delighted for him. He looked solid in pre-season. But the realization of it is Brendan did throw him under the bus by putting him in there, and he sunk. And it's up to Dane Murray as a professional now to recover from that, prove himself. But right now, I would not be putting him back into that team. I just don't have that confidence. Besides Donovan, I'm sorry, Donovan has been class so far, but Donovan was ripped the fuck the weekend. That guy was ripping them to sunders on that left flank, and it's hard to talk about because I said it on me Instagram. I said it when I put out the video up. I said, look, I'm dreading this game. I'm really believe that they're going to be up for it, and they were up for it. Hearts were up for it. You know, Hearts were up for it, and Hearts deserve to hammer us. And it gives a bad taste in your mouth when you're standing there 75 minutes in your sitting room looking at that and you're saying to yourself, do I knock it off? Do I keep watching? Hoping for like this 10% chance that Celtic are going to get an equaliser. That's how you know as a fan, your team, the energy, the hunger, the desire, we never stop vibe is gone from that team. It's gone. That factor is gone. And we need Martin to give them a good old slap tomorrow and say, get it together. Put the arms around each other. You know, that huddle's made for fucking something. You know, bark orders, Callum. Get out there and put a show on for them boys. Put a show on for them boys. But yeah, I think Scales has been an unsung hero. He's really stepped up. Like, look at the positive things was Rogers gave Scales a chance, and Scales has been, you know, I'd say about 75% decent in his whole kind of spell under Brendan Rodgers. There has been a couple of bomb scare moments, like at Ibrox in January and stuff like that. But Scales, a couple of big Champions League man of the match performances and stuff like that. People forget about stuff like that. That's a big thing to have in your CV. A couple of Champions League, you know, man of the match performances or player of the match performances, if you want to refer like that. But look, you brought Keane in, he worked on Keane, and Keane was pretty good. Matt O'Reilly accelerated under him. Maeda accelerated under him last season, but Kyogo struggled under him. Rio, I don't know why he keeps playing Rio, because Rio is not even half the player he was under Ange. So maybe if Martin is looking from the outside, because I'm sure Martin watches a lot of Celtic anyway, bring McCown in, bring Bernardo in, Engels, put him back on the bench. Even though he played good against Graz, he was atrocious at Tynecastle. Bring Bernardo in. You need to change it around. These players need to relish the chance of starting games and not feel like they're going to be stuck into the same boring style of football. My concerns is we're looking at this, and I think a lot of Celtic fans are thinking the Celtic Martin O'Neill. I'm thinking as in my head, the logic side. This guy hasn't managed in 6 years. Hasn't managed in 6 years. He's now 73. Football landscape is changing dramatically compared to when he managed in 2019. He didn't do well on Nottingham Forest. And this is not me trying to talk down Martin O'Neill, because Martin O'Neill, as a professional, won 2 European Cups with Nottingham Forest. You know, he done well with Leicester as a manager. He played in World Cups for Northern Ireland. And on top of that, he came to Celtic Football Club and transformed us to a dominant side. I think Martin O'Neill's team back from 2000 up to 2003, maybe four, were probably the best team in Britain. You've seen it with the testimonials and games and European games. For fuck's sake, we got to the European final against Porto. We scored 2 goals that night. And then Porto went on to win the Champions League the following season. It just proves that Martin O'Neill had a dressing room of leaders. That team right now that we should have a Kieran Tierney leader. We should have a Callum McGregor leader. We should have an Alpha Johnson leader. We should have Casper Schmeichel. These guys look like they're crumbling. They're crumbling because the politics of Brendan and that board has really drained it out of them. Look, at these guys are professionals. They've seen it on social media. And I know certain fans don't like the whole Celtic collective agenda. I think you have to call out the board. You have to call out the mistakes. You have to call it out. How's it going, Gemma? I hope you're doing well. You call it out because if you keep sugarcoating when we win this and we win that, and the cracks are still there, who's going to pay for it? The fans are going to pay for it because the fans are going to be let down. They're going to be let down on getting hyped up about a game, wasting money on that. It has been a mad 24 hours, Brian. It really is, and I really appreciate you all watching. But I'm gonna put up something here on the channel tonight, right? I'm gonna ask you this out straight, right? No one's really at. So these are the odds for the next Celtic manager. We've Kieran McKenna, who manages Ipswich Town at 1-2. We have Ange at 4-1. We got Sean Maloney at 9-1. We got Martin O'Neill on a permanent basis, 12-1. We got Newton at 12-1. We got Robbie Keane at 14-1. Damien Duff, 16-1. Craig Bellamy, that's it. Is the one that I never expect to see on it. 18-1. Marco Rose, not a bad manager. 20-1. Solskjaer, 20-1. Carrick, 25-1. Done a decent job on Middlesbrough. Stephen Robinson, a guy that rings bells in my head, but I don't know if he's good enough for the job. 25-1. Gareth Southgate, 25-1, one touch him. Roberto Mancini, good manager, 25-1. Muscat, 25-1. Scott Brown, 33-1. Yandel Thomason, 33-1. There's one there. Eric Tim Hag got the boot from Leverkusen. And look at Neil Lennon, 40-1. Frank Lampard doing a phenomenal job at Coventry. I wouldn't take him at Celtic. Marco Silva, good manager. Gary O'Neill, one touch. Michael O'Neill, no thanks. Jim Goodwin, I don't know. I'd rather Robinson over Jim Goodwin. I know Jim Goodwin obviously played for Celtic and stuff like that, but the thing about McKenna is 39 years of age. He was the assistant manager of Manchester United for a couple of years. He took the full-time gig at Ipswich, got Ipswich promoted to the Premier League, and then he obviously got relegated as well. Um, I wouldn't. I honestly believe that the boards have this orchestrated. I've said this on the channel so many times, even when Brendan was in charge. Whoever's going to get the Celtic job next will be an insider, a person that knows the club, someone that they'll go for the cheap that has a Celtic connection. And I think they done this whole O'Neill Maloney thing similar to Barnes and Dalglish. It can't be as bad as Barnes and Dalglish. Let's just put it out there, but the kind of the profile to it. So what I mean by that is, I think they just wanted to sugarcoat. If they announced last night Sean Maloney as the interim boss, fans would be up in fucking eruptions. So they asked Martin O'Neill because it calms the fans down. They know that the fans are on their fucking backs. They know that there's protests, there's banners, there's posts, there's a lot going on. There's campaigns of don't give them any more fucking money, boycott the merchandise. Because let's be honest, what have the board given you over the last couple of years? Not enough dialogue, not enough. It's statements. And the most insane thing about last night was Michael Nicholson, Chris McCoy, and Mr. Lawwell. Where the fuck are they? Where are they? Where is Michael Nicholson, who is collecting 900 grand a, a year salary? Where the fuck is he? Where's Chris McCoy? Where's Peter Lawwell? They're quick enough to look at their phones when our team is getting beaten or when they're at the games, but when shit is going down, they decide to put out a fucking statement from a guy that owns 36% of the shares in Celtic that thinks that he is the big boss. Folks, he does not own Celtic to the full majority. He does not. And he can, and I honestly think Brendan Rodgers is going to sue Dermot Desmond because he slandered him in that statement. Absolutely slandered him. Yes, Brendan might have a big bollocks ego of, oh, I managed in the Premier League. I got Liverpool almost a Premier League title. I managed Swansea, got Swansea into the Premier League. Oh, I won an FA Cup. I have a big ego bollocks. And he has fucked up in his career so many times as well by doing dirty dorts or getting teams relegated. But let's be honest here. The way that it was done wasn't nice. You don't rip a manager that got you an invincible season, a double treble, got you into a Champions League playoff, and you rip him to sunders because you had this 3 hour conversation with him in his house. In his house. And he couldn't give you a reason why he was not backed. Couldn't give a reason. The fact is, the evidence is there. You've 77 million in the bank. Like or not, fans, like or not, I know you're going to turn around and say, I've seen this, all the repetitive mixture of shite across the spectrum. Keith, I wouldn't trust Rodgers with the money. I wouldn't trust. It's the fucking team. Yes, we got Ingles and he hasn't played under Rodgers well. 3 or 4 decent games, you could say. Ida is gone. 9 million, sold for 7 million. Move on. But you need to be honest with yourselves. There is a divide. There is a bit of a little civil war between the board, the previous manager, fans being unhappy. We all want to send the cliche, back the team and all, sack the boards. The board ain't gonna move. So for the guy that was from Dublin that unsubscribed to my channel because I wasn't talking about the board that much, we're now in October. We are. I think someone said we're 17 games awaiting the transfer window being open. We need to dig in what we have. We got to use our resources. We got to use our resources, and we need to we need to call out. We need to criticize players when they are not performing, and you need to praise players. And see when a player isn't performing and he gets that big tackle, get out of your fucking seats and clap him and give a bit of support. There's no point of like having that vibe of if Dane plays tomorrow, I am gonna feel anxious watching the game, like, oh my god. But at the same time, like, it's not hard to weigh. It's Celtic Park, you should feel more at home. You should we need to believe in this team. It's about coming together, folks. The hardest part is Brendan's gone. Brendan is gone. Thank you for your memories, Brendan. I wish you the very best in your career. And I will look forward to hearing Brendan Rodgers' side of what happens. Because I'll tell you one fucking thing. I have a feeling that Mr. Desmond is talking a bit of truth and a bit of shy. You know? I believe that Brendan Rodgers did bluff it. I didn't accept the contract in the summer. I completely believe that. But I do not believe that he had the final say in the operations. He signed off on these players. I don't believe it because that board is ching, ching, ching. If he wanted to get the players he really wanted, I'm sure he could have said, give us 8 million. Let me go into the English Premier League. Let me get someone that's playing, maybe 20 games a season coming off the bench. You could transform for us. I really, really believe this statement has pissed me off. It's pissed me off the stage where the more the more I feel about the boards, the more I feel like, yes, look, we can take it away that they've put Celtic in a great financial place. We'll give them the credit that's due there. But the credit that's the problems is they are afraid to go into the unknown and go for someone else. My first preference would be Newton. I don't think he's going to leave Glint because he gets a good portion of when he sell players, he gets a portion of that. He has scalped Celtic in the Conference League. He's walked through that Europa League, got Glint into the semis, I think. Now a Champions League team. Now the thing about Newton is I looked into this earlier on because I was curious. I wanted to know what's happening with the Norwegian league because I know Mjällby won the Swedish league. Congratulations to I want to call them Johan Mjällby FC, even though it's not the Johan. Um, I looked at it. So there is about 4 games left, 4 or 5 games left in the Norwegian league. Now, Glimt, I think, are 2 points behind. They're in second place. So if it's a case that they're gonna fucking throw the sink at this and go for Newton, personally, if I was Newton, would you want to go to Celtic after after the shit they've been through with Brendan? It's about the project they sell to managers. Yes, it's a 60,000 seat stadium, won the European Cup, but come on, it feels like these things are all right from the outside, but it's the internal problems that's coming. That manager that comes in is going to have to deal with being restricted. He's not going to get a kitty. And this is the thing where people keep going back to Ange Postecoglou. Ange done the most of the grafting himself. He done the phone calls to get Joe Hart up the road from Tottenham when Nuno screwed him over. He done the phone calls of, right, we need this, and this. We need to get this guy from the Eredivisie, top goal scorer. They've been regular. They've been they've been dropped the division. His name is Georgios Yakimakis. Bit of Greek. I'm Greek myself. He's Greek. Bit of bond there. And sadly, it didn't work out with Yakimakis and Ange down the line. He had a lot of respect for Ange. It was the board that fucked up Yakimakis. Let's be all know the truth about it. It was down to they wouldn't give him an extra few grand on his contract. And look, I still truly believe we never replaced Georgios Yakimakis. At times, Ida looked like he had that similarity to him, but Yakimakis was an absolute machine. He was a machine. We know that. But Ange done all the grafting. I I look at the first training session when he was mic'd up and he's like, "We'll never stop," and he's talking to the boys and this and that. But we need to see we need to see this in the perspective. I think it's going to be very hard to get a decent profile manager in. Let's be fucking honest. Who wants to come to Scotland and manage in Scotland? Playing the same shite 4 times a season. Gets boring to some people. The fans, I was looking forward to it. Not really. Depends who we're playing against. Um, yeah, it's a great club. The fans admire you. But when you're down, when you do something wrong, it's very hard. Some managers, some players just can't strive with that intensity, that pressure on them. Let's be honest. You know, I will manage. So should be a Champions League round. But this is the thing. We should be, but we ain't. They don't want to modernising the club. They don't want to build the stadium up, get the stadium to a type of stadium where you can actually host European finals. They don't want to put a fan zone in. A hotel got postponed. Yes, they have done Barrafield. I'll give them the praise for that. They've done a little bit of Lennoxtown up. They've done the dugouts. They've done the pitch. They've done all this. But for fuck's sake, the stadium needs doing up. The stadium needs doing up. Them beams still look rotten. They should never took down that paradise covers around the stadium. That was unbelievable. The history of all these players, it was remarkable. Absolutely remarkable. Oh, my dog's like letting off a big fart. Oh, Jesus. Jesus Christ. Look at him in the background, folks. Look at him in the background. He's just chilling, he is. It's as bad as Brendan's fucking football. But look at the manager from Red Imps. But that's it, like it's a PLC, it doesn't feel like an FC to some people. Look at we're only the ants. They're the bee's nest on the tree. Let's be honest. I was saying to me barber earlier on, shout out to Dave. Dave's a big Celtic fan. And Dave has a different opinion to me because Dave says it in his perspective like Keats. I was 11 years of age when Celtic were beaten. They were beaten by Rafe Rovers in the League Cup. I I remember crying myself to bed at the age of 11, singing over and over. That kind of stuff, like Keith, you need to understand what we've come to, where we've came. I'm like, I understand that, but you're 77 million in the bank. You're at the taking the balls off Bayern Munich in the Allianz Arena, and you could see in the last minute, and your manager's telling you need one or two new players. And I really believe Brendan was right that night. I really believe that if we did add one or two players to the team, we could have been a force to actually, go on a level. But sadly, it was the decay of the squads. When offers come in, they 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 run to offers. They run to. It's funny enough how quick enough the bar can take the money in, but when it's spending the money, my Jesus Christ, he's like the stingy man out of the group of friends that's afraid to come and buy a round for everyone. Has to come with excuses. That's the Celtic board. You know, it's the stubbornness of the board when it comes down to transfers. We could have had Taneki 2 weeks before we had him. Instead, he left it late and he panicked and he bought him for around, what was it, 5.3 million? You know, it's simple. When you invest, you get rewarded or you get ripples. When you don't invest, things will start to fall apart. The signs were there. The signs have been there since last season, folks. The second half of last season was shy to watch. Scottish Cup, shy to watch. As I said, Brendan's moved on. I think Brendan will take time out. I think he will. Think he will take time out. I think he'll probably go and manage in La Liga. I just have that feeling. I think he'll take a gig in La Liga. He might take the Wolves job, but it doesn't really matter anymore. What matters is who's in that dugout now. And will we see Martin O'Neill in a tracksuit like the old days? His socks tucked in. Will we see him in a suit? Will we see that? You won't see that energy that you seen 25 years ago because he's now 73 years of age. But if he can get them players, a reaction of them players going, let's get Falkirk ticked off first, folks. I'm not thinking about Sunday. I'm not thinking about the derby. The Rangers fans will be living in laughter now because of the shambles of what we've caused. They've had a bigger shit than us this season. Let's be honest. Look at them in the table. Says everything. You got scalped in the Champions League qualifiers. You haven't won it. You haven't won in the Europa League. They don't have a right to talk about anything. It's just been strange, you know. Caden says you put the money into the money maker. These clowns wanting to build a museum. We don't need a museum. You need to put as you said, you need to put the money into the team. The team generates it. You know, that extra round of the Champions League or pushing in the Europa League will attract more money. I definitely agree with you, Caden. It's good to see you in, by the way, as well. A big shout out to Mark Scott. My missus says you look like Chris Sutton. Hell, Keaton, nothing has changed. The bar still must go. Brendan will reply, and he might be able to join, and we'll be able to join some dots on. Do you know what? I think Brendan's gonna go all in and sue Damon Desmond. I fucking have a feeling. I have that feeling. Now, that's just me giving you my opinion. Because let's be honest, Brendan doesn't shy away. I'm sure he's either with his legal team or he's thinking to himself, who do I say? Do I come out and talk sport? Do I come out and Sky Sports? Do I come out publicly and then say what I need to say? I do truly believe that a lot of Brendan's press conferences over the last couple of months have been shy talk. I do believe some of the transfers stuff. I believe that he is right because we've seen evidence of Neil Lennon not getting backed after the Cluj game, evidence of Ange only getting back certain amounts in the second season. So I really believe that there is that type of penny pinching. And the board came out with a statement saying that's down to financial stability and the markets and Brexit and all this nonsense. FIFA fair play and all this shit, even though we're in the green on our books and all, I don't believe it. You know, he may, and you know what, he might. You know, but Martin's a good mover. He's a very passionate man. He is a very passionate man. I watched his press conference earlier on. Looking at Sean Maloney drains the fucking life out of me. I just don't like Sean Maloney. I I used to love him as a player. Used to fucking admire watching him as a player. I always remember that moment, the punching in Paisley with the Bumblebee jersey, his goals in the NTL days. I love Sean Maloney as a player, but as a coach, I know a lot of people moaned about John Kennedy. I was one of them during COVID when he got that intern job, the caretaker job. Like, oh my god, seriously. But I'll give John Kennedy the credit. Yes, he got injured in his career, ended early enough in his career, in his playing career. He came in and done a coach job, and Yes, he moved up the ladder and he worked with Ange, Brendan, Ronnie, Neil. But having that on your CV as the assistant manager or your defensive coach, whatever, yeah, assistant manager of Celtic for so many years, he'll be missed. And he got sacked alongside a few of the other lads, and laptop tracking got to keep his job. Stevie Woods, can't sack Stevie Woods, good goalkeeping coach, worked with some cracking keepers. But maybe down the line, Joe Hart to be the goalkeeper coach. That'd be fucking phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Agree, Keith. There's no doubt Brendan's legal team will be grinning over that statement. There will be more to come out in the next couple of weeks. That's it. Just have patience, Roddy. It will come out. But our biggest focus right now is not about Brendan Rodgers or Dermot Desmond or the board. It's about tomorrow night and actually fucking taking it to it. Fingers crossed, St. Mirren can be Hearts as well. Look, at Hearts are going to have their heads up their arses. Hearts were relishing the chance because they knew that Brendan Rodgers was crumbling and Celtic were crumbling. And they might change the persona a little bit. You know, we don't know how long Martino's going to be here for. We don't know if it's going to be Kieran McKenna that will get the job, if it's going to be Newson, or is it going to be big sexy Ange again? Um, Time will tell. Time will tell. Let me know in the comments. Who would you like as the next Celtic manager? What would you change in the formation? Who would you play? This is about you. It's not about me. I could talk for all day. This is about you as the fans. What happened last night? I'm confused. Brendan resigned. Dermot Desmond put a statement out saying the reason why Brendan Rodgers has gone, they weren't happy with the way he spoke about the transfers and the board. It came out of the blue. Um, that kind of stuff. Look into it. It's not by me sitting here and talking about like Polly the parrot forever, but it's the truth. Yeah, but we need to stop thinking of the nostalgic side of it. You need to think of this is the problem with us. We're an emotional club. We're an emotional set of fans. Tierney comes back, we start getting emotional. Jota comes back, we get emotional. Lennon came back, he scored. Edward scores the goal on the Wednesday night after Rodgers leaves. It's fucking crazy, crazy. You know, wins the treble. In the share gets a contract. Fuck at him. That he's the job. We're too emotional. Sometimes we need to start thinking as a business and start thinking. Stop going for who you know. Go for someone that has the experience. You know. Solskjaer, he has a good attacking style of football. Obviously, he got the sack a couple of months ago from Besiktas. I don't know. I don't know. No, this sounds a bit crazy, and this I know you will disagree with me in this. I would rather have Stephen Robinson or Jim Goodwin in instead of Solskjaer because they know the league. They can. They're good managers for the level they've managed. Is Celtic too much for Stephen Robinson? Yes, but sometimes you got to take a risk. We took a risk with Ronnie. Yes, Ronnie was unfortunate to lose out on a treble in his first season, thanks to the corruption of the SFA and Inverness. But look, you get sometimes the unknowns is good for you. Nicholson is rumored to be sacked from the board. There's been a lot of rumors going around about Michael Nicholson being sacked, but right now there's no point speculating on it. The fact is, there's no statement yet. There's no statement. You know, it's a strange one today that he wasn't there for Martin O'Neill's um, press conference. But it was good to hear. It was good to hear Martin talk. He had a bit of rapport with the media. He had a bit of a laugh. He was saying that one of the lads looked about 12. But some decent questions asked as well from the Celtic fan media and stuff as well. But we've a lot we've a lot of football to be played, folks. And Rome wasn't built in one day. I maybe because we've had so much dominance over the last 10 years, we just sometimes can't accept when it goes a bit grey, do we deal with okay? Are we too much panic merchants? Or are we just passionate that we could see something needs to change? Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments. So Kevin says, I want a new manager with no Celtic experience. I'm the same as you, bud. A whole new fresh start, new players, a new way of playing. Kevin from Tipperary. Up the tip. What part of tip? Seamus says, hope so. There is a link with a former CEO of Leicester. I've heard this rumor as well. I can't confirm anything on it just yet. You know, I'm looking forward to a fresh start. I'd like to see Cal McGregor play further forward. We always talk about this, Mark, and you've always himmed on this. On this, I completely agree with you. I think play McCown or play Bernardo as that kind of holding midfielder and let push up Mister McGregor. And we'll get more goals. You've seen it. He obviously he's the one that scored at Tynecastle the weekend. I'm glad Kennedy is gone. It feels like some of the woodwork's finally getting ripped out with a new appointment. Look, a part of me is glad he's gone, but at the same time, I'm not a fan of Sean Maloney. I'm just not a fan of him. I don't know. It's just, am I just being a bit of a weirdo when I just don't like the way he speaks, the way he goes on? I just don't get that vibe off him. He doesn't really, doesn't come across as selling himself right to me. Let me know if he's in the comments. As I said, what a player. What a fucking player he was. But I just, it just goes through me. He does. Cal's past it. Cal is past it, right? The thing is, Cal McGregor's past it, but he still has a goal in him. Like, Cal McGregor shouldn't be playing every single game because he's the captain. The guy's 32 years of age now. His legs are slowing down. Scott Brown had that fight. McGregor at that age, you know. I want to see more staff sacks on the boards. Julie, it ain't gonna happen. The boards are in a bubble. We can keep putting pressure on and pressure on. I think the more the pressure gets put on, there's a demonstration planned at 7 o'clock tomorrow outside Celtic Park, and I hope if you are going to the game, please join the demonstration. As I said, people are not trying to tickle feathers here. Fans are very passionate about this team. Fans are very passionate about the operations of this club. And if they feel as a collective that they can see that there's issues going on from the stadium to the team to the management to the transfer policy to the lack of clarity, they're in their fucking rights to do it. You know, Rogers not playing Bernardo more regularly was criminal. My conspiracy on this, right, is I think Rogers was bluffing us for a good while. See them interviews, he's talking about Celtic and stuff. I feel like he knew that he could have Bernardo there, and Bernardo could change certain games. Look, Bernardo played start against Braga, didn't really turn up that night. I feel like he knew he was checked out, and when he was checked out, he lost the hunger. When he lost the hunger, he playing politics to the board, and this is why the team suffered. That's my conspiracy on it. Like what happened with Leicester, his team just crumbled in the third season. Would fans accept Nixon? I think. Look, I think Nicholson. I think Nicholson has been very, very quiet. Yes, he attended a fan a fan media thing recently, a meeting over the international break, but I'm just disappointed in the board. I really am disappointed, and at the same time, I'm not surprised that we didn't hear from these guys. Like they're really, really burning bridges with the fans, and I'm sick of the happy clappers. Like as I said, if Martin O'Neill wasn't brought in, and it was Sean Maloney, I think a lot of fans would be a little bit more angry today. You know, Newton, Newton, um, I would go. I wouldn't go. I wouldn't go anywhere Robbie Keane. See this whole Irish connection. This needs to stop. You need to go someone that has experience. Um, Robbie Keane obviously has won the Israeli league. that which doesn't go around well with certain portion of fans. He's won the Hungarian league with Ferencváros. We remember Ferencváros because they beat us in 2021 in the Champions League qualifiers in the third round. I would not touch Robbie Keane. I think Robbie Keane has an ego as well. I wouldn't touch Damien Duff. And someone saying Stephen Bradley from Shamrock Rovers. I would like to see Stephen Bradley get the Ireland job. I don't think Stephen Bradley's good enough for Celtic. Simple as. I know it sounds weird. I know Stephen Bradley's obviously that they're getting Rovers into the Conference League. I'd actually rather Stephen Robinson than Stephen Bradley. I know it sounds weird, I know. And he's won back-to-back League of Irelands and stuff like that. But no. No, not back-to-back League of Irelands. League of Irelands. A couple of times. One touch Damien Duff as well. No, there's a guy that follows me on Instagram. And he's sound, but he's been to a few Shamrock Rovers games. He lives in Edinburgh. He's mad into Celtic since he moved to Scotland. And look at I can't put down his passion for the club is unbelievable. But stop jumping on trends as well. What I would say is, yeah, Stephen Bradley's an alright manager, but he's not good enough for Celtic. And he puts a video up saying, I would like Stephen Bradley, and I goes, mate, calm your fucking self down. Because he's done alright with Shamrock Rovers. This is Glasgow Celtic. Like, what about Scott Brown? Not a chance. Scott Brown hasn't established himself as a manager just yet. He needs the Hibs gig. He needs to go to Hibs or Aberdeen and put them into a team that's finishing third or second, a third place, and then maybe we'll consider Scott Brown down the line. But right now, no, not a chance. You know, like some fans are just delusional, like fucking putting videos up. Stephen Bradley's the man for Celtic. No, he's not. Kieran McKenna would be an alright. I think he would be. I think he's, Ipswich played some decent football in the championship. I know I looked at his stats this season, 12 games so far, 4 wins, 4 draws, 4 losses. It's all right, you know. Um, the championship is one of the hardest divisions to get out of in football. Let's be honest. I think there's like 46 games or 48 games in the championship. You'd like to see Scott Brown, but this is the problem. Uses your head. It's not down to what Scott Brown has done on the pitch. It's what he's done in his managerial CV. We're hiring people for experience, folks. Experience. You want someone that has experience in the CV for managerial stuff, not someone that's fucking managed Air United that hasn't got Air promoted. So use your heads. Use your head. Stop going with your heart. Use your heads. Just use your head, folks. And that's not a dig at Judy, it's not a dig at Wilson's not a dig of anyone. I'm telling you, just think about it. Use the logic of it. Bruni isn't good enough to be the Celtic manager now or next year or the year after. He isn't. Stop going with the nostalgic crap that the board keeps selling you, like you done with Martin O'Neill. Martin O'Neill should never be coming back to Celtic. The guy is a legend. He built his legacy at Celtic. He got us to a European final. He brought us remarkable days in the Umbro jerseys, in the Carlin tops, in the NTL tops. Bringing Martin back is a bad decision because if he doesn't get the results, you're going to have fuckers that are going to be ripping him apart, ripping them apart. That's what's going to happen. And don't say they're not going to do it. People, I like honestly, I'm quite sad that Martin's come back because Martin is 73 years of age. He doesn't need that in his life right now. He should be just sitting there doing his punditry, having his chat and talk sport, and just saying it. The guy's done it. He sailed that ship and he had a great time on the cruise. You know, I just feel fucking. I just feel, you know, like will I feel different tomorrow when I see him in the dugouts? Will I? Maybe I will. Like I posted that picture of Martin with the scarf today, and then when he back 25 years ago, and he's just the I reinsure you, I that famous one on the steps of Celtic Park. Unbelievable, unbelievable. You know, Miss Call, the ant. Um, but anyways, folks, I'm gonna leave it there. Davy Moyes, he's happy at Everton. He's not gonna leave for Celtic unless he gets a sack. But the last question is, I would take Bruni as background staff. Yeah, 100%. What you feeling with Neil Lennon turning steer for the board and bang and ganging up on some? I'm not fucking surprised. Look, I love Lennon, but I think Sudden. I'd rather. I think. I know this sounds weird. I think Sutton's more invested in Scottish football than Neil Lennon is. I know that sounds weird because Neil Lennon's managed Celtic and stuff. I know Lenny is managing Dunfermline, but I just think Suddy calls it as it is. I think the whole bollocks of him and Boyd the other day, the Chuckle Brothers, as Sutton calls it. Lennon is like still sniffing for a fucking job at Celtic. That's the problem with Neil. Lay off the boards. Lay off the boards. The transfer windows have been failures. The fact is, not every player you sign is going to be magnificent and going to be a 25 million player. Lennon needs to calm down. Needs to calm down. I personally think Neil Lennon looked like he probably had a couple of drinks before the game. Why the fuck was he wearing a maroon jumper as well? Looks like he's wearing a heart top. Sitting there watching it, I'm like, he's got the Tynecast and he's wearing this colour jumper. What's going on here? I have that, like, I'm that superstition person. I'm like, why is he wearing that type of stuff? That's bad. That's bad. That's bad behaviour. You know? I think like that kind of stuff. But yeah, yeah. So look, folks, I'm glad you enjoyed the live. I really appreciate 20 people tuning in. Look, 20 people in the room is better than no one in the room. And every single one of you, thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. I will try get back tomorrow night. I'm going to try get back on full time tomorrow night to chat, which is for about half an hour about the game. Hopefully, it's going to be a positive result. Um, Look at Martin's back at the helm. I wish Martin the very best, but as I said, my emotions on it is I think they just panicked and they brought Martin O'Neill in so they can take the pressure off, take the heat off them. That's my honest opinion on it. I just think the board are failing and failing every fucking season, regardless travels or not. I feel like they're failing because they're not spending the money it should be. So, right, I'm off. Slán, oh well, yeah. Go meet him all guts. Have a good night, and I will speak to you tomorrow night, hopefully. Hell, hell.